What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back, a brand new episode of the Love of Fighting podcast, episode 14. I'm Arshia, your host. Ollie, as always, he doesn't have a camera. We're joined by UFC featherweight Danny Chavez. Danny, how you doing, bro?
Hey man, how you doing? Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Uh, it's so good to have you on the show. And Ollie's got a couple questions for you. He's gonna ask you. He's got 5 questions. Ollie, go and ask him your questions one by one.
Okay. How did you find out about UFC?
About MMA, Ollie.
Oh yeah, Emma.
Well, that's what they call it nowadays. You know, when you think about MMA, you think about UFC. That's literally like what the people believe the sport is called. You know what I mean? I'll be honest. I used to be when I was young and I used to like hang around my friends. You go play pool at any biller. You know what I mean? And when you play in when you go play pool, I used to watch cage fighting, but I didn't really pay attention because at that time, boxing was like the hottest combat sport. You know what I mean? It was all about boxing. It was all about Oscar De La Hoya, Trinidad. Then you have Marquez, you have the Pacquiao, you got the Mayweather, all that stuff. You know, they were the hottest. When I was growing up, that was to me fighting. So I used to see cage fighting when I played pool, but I didn't really pay attention. I'll be like, oh, that people would tell me, oh, that's real fighting. That's with everything. I'll be like, oh yeah, whatever. I didn't pay attention. Then one time, a friend of mine, Alex, was like, "Oh, let's go watch the Ultimate Fighter," and it was like season 3 at the time. It was Ken Shamrock and Tito Ortiz. That was the
Yeah,
coach, and Michael Bisping was the winner of the show.
yeah,
And I remember I was like, "What is that?" He's like, "Oh, people that get in the house," and he explained to me the whole thing. Then I went to go see it, and I was like, "Yo, this is dope." And he's like, "Yeah, man, this is real fighting." And I'm like, "Hey, I dig this, man. This is different. This is not boxing." And from there on, it started. That's when I'm old school, so I dig into, I grabbed the yellow pages. That shit don't exist anymore. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I got the yellow pages and I started looking for schools and all that stuff. And that's how I got in. That's how the journey started.
Uh, let me ask you about when you had your first fight. The first punch landed on your face, how did it feel? The first punch that wasn't your training partner.
Okay, to be honest, when you're fighting, there is times that you get hit, but you don't really feel it. Like, kind of you
Yeah,
feel it, but you don't. Yeah, like, that's what people when they tell you, then they get knocked out. They don't really know they got knocked out because it
yeah,
really is really surprising. So I'll be honest. I had fights where I really walked out clean, and I'll be like, "Oh, I didn't get touched at all." Then I go look at pictures, and you got pictures of me getting hit in the face, and I'm like, "Whoa, when did that happen?" You know what I
yeah,
mean? I don't remember that at all. So I think there's certain punches you could feel, and there's certain ones that you don't. But we used to it because that's what you train for. You know what I mean?
yeah,
My first, you know, I think I got him beat up harder in the gym than I ever got in a fight. You know what I mean? I think like I came out with like, yeah, I got him beat up more in the gym. I ever got him beat up in a real fight. You know what I mean? A real fight, you get beat up too. You know what I mean? There's just more expectations, anxiety, stress, and it's more stressful than any sparring session you get. But in sparring, I feel like I got him beat up way more than a fight sometimes. You know what I mean? So it's not so strange when you get punched in the face compared to when you were getting in the gym. Like to be honest, it's almost the same. The difference is that the adrenaline in the fight sometimes doesn't let you notice that you got punched. Like you feel like somebody just touched you, but it was nothing. Then when you
yeah.
go see the fight, or when you don't fight and you're watching the video or the footage, you look at it like, damn, that was a hard punch. How did I took that?
Yeah. I've been hit harder in the gym than in the cage, and like you said, the adrenaline. But when no, I don't know if it's me or sometimes you guys have experienced this too. Sparring sometimes is harder than the fight. Have you ever
Yeah,
felt that?
yeah. I always tell people all the time. Sometimes the thing is that sometimes you have had sparring sessions where it goes deep, deep waters on the sparring, and sometimes you have fights that because it takes two to make a fight. So when the other person is kind of like more striking and he doesn't, you're getting the best of him, and you let's say you're beating him up, you're dominating the fight. You walk out, you're like, bro, it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? You're like, damn, it was worse in my head. In my head, I thought I was going to war. I was going to get dropped. I was going to get cut. I was going to start bleeding. That's in your head. So when the fight ends up being lighter than what you had in your head, you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. And plus, in the fight, like I said, it takes two. So it depends what the other guy's bringing to the table. If the other guy doesn't bring a good game, then technically you had harder sparring in the gym than you actually had a fight. But there is some fights that end up being real fights. There is
Yeah.
some fights that you're like, yo, I have a headache. I gotta go home. I gotta put ice. I gotta go to the doctor. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so. But I know what you mean. I have I've had way harder sparring sometimes than fights than certain fights.
Yeah. Ollie, go on with your questions. I'm sorry I jumped into yours.
All right. How was your first MMA training camp?
How was my first MMA training camp? Wow. It was, okay, of course, it was my first fight when I was debuting. It was, to be honest, I've been blessed that I've been trained really professional. You know what I mean? Like nothing, like it's not like right now I'm training any different than what I trained earlier. I just added new things, adjustment, but it's always been like that: training hard, doing conditioning, eating right, resting, all those things that makes a camp. I still do it. I'll say what the difference is that since it was my first fight, it was new to me. Everything was new to me. You know what I mean? And I'll say is I would say the difference between before and now, for example, doing a camp, is that I know you kind of know what you got to do. When my first camp, like I said, everything is new to me, so I just follow. Like somebody said, do this, go hit the bag. I'm like, okay, I guess you gotta hit the bag. Go do this. I guess I gotta go do that. You know, because the professionals are telling you that. Not only my coaches, but you have alphas in the gym, like professional fighters that are right now at a high level. At the time, I was a beginner, so I did what they tell me. You know what I mean? I was more of a follower. I'll say now I'm more like I kind of know I kind of know what I gotta do
Yeah.
to get ready for a fight. My first time, I was just everything was new to me. I was just also, we got to do conditioning. How many times? 3 times. If you tell me 5, I'll do 5. You know what I mean? Like everything. I was just more of I was learning, and camp was rough because it was the first time. I think like now when I get ready for a fight, my body's used to the camps. My body's used to the workout. The difference is getting older, so you need to rest a little bit more. But my body's used to it. The first times, getting up from that bed, even though I was young, getting up from the bed after those workouts, ooh, it was tough.
It's tough,
Now that
yeah.
I'm older, it's just because you're older, but it's not because my body's used to it. I'm used to grind already. My body's already has that rhythm of grinding. So it's easy now.
Ollie, go on.
All right. Tell us about your first amateur fight.
Okay, I never did amateur MMA, but I did amateur kickboxing. So my first amateur kickboxing fight was back in 2007 or 2007. It was like late 2007. And I'll be honest, it was one of the fights that I was very excited about, very anxious and excited about, because it was my first time throwing just punches and kicks. Like, because I first started with jujitsu, so it's all great. And funniest thing is, I was very nervous for jujitsu more than the kickboxing, which is crazy. But I guess it was the first time competing. That's what it was. So when you do kickboxing, now you know that it's only punches and kicks. You can't shoot. You can't go to the ground. You can't submit. You can't do none of that stuff. It's just punches and kicks and clinch. So I was excited because I was training for it. But in the back of you get a little nervous because this is people still get knocked out in amateur kickboxing. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
eat a kick, you could go down. So it was right by my house. I'll be honest. It was at a boxing gym. They were holding a kickboxing tournament. It was right by my house. It was on top of a nice arena, and it was great. I came in. I won all 3 rounds. I felt great, and it was the first time me doing a walkout. I never walked out before. In jiu-jitsu, they call your name, you step on the mat. It's different when you actually have a song. You come out of the locker, blue corner, red
Mhm.
corner. You're one side, the other side. That was dope. You know what I mean? And I fought in a ring, which is different than a cage. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would say that was one of my most exciting fights. When I debuted in grappling, I was nervous. When I debuted in amateur kickboxing, I was excited.
Yeah.
Ollie, go.
All right. What were your thoughts on your last fight?
My what?
Well, your last fight.
But what was my what? He said my something.
No, he said last fight.
Thoughts.
Your thoughts.
Oh, my thoughts. Okay. I thought he said my hopes. I'm like, whoa, I hope I won. You know what I mean? Oh, my thoughts on my last fight. Look, you gotta give competition the credit. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna. I don't like talking about previous to the fight. I think we all walk in with things previous to fights. Some of us are injured. Some of us got personal things going on mentally. So I think my last fight, what happened is that I had my own game plan. It was really hard to fight Kamaka the way he fought me. I didn't think he was gonna fight me that way. I thought Kamaka was going to put a lot of pressure. I was really, really working on counter striking him. First, I was getting ready for another fight. I was getting ready for Doho Choi. Yeah. He pulled out 2 weeks before the fight, and Kamaka stepped in. And when I fought Kamaka, the one thing that he gave me a lot of trouble with is I expected him to rush me. I expected him to walk me back against the cage and strike. Because if you see his previous fights, he strikes a lot with his right hand and he throws hooks. So I had things ready for that. And he didn't do that. He actually was
calf kicks.
He was actually just calf kicking me, which I love calf kicking people. He was calf kicking me, and that's it.
Yeah, he was throwing a lot of calf kicks.
If you look at the fight, he barely threw punches. He didn't go for takedowns to the third round. Then he put me against the wall, but he didn't really go for the takedowns like that. All he did was calf kick me. You know what I mean? And I didn't. He really. I'll be honest. He really walked into that fight as a complete different fighter that I trained to fight him. To fight him. You know what I mean? I expected a guy that was going to come in. When I threw my right hands, he was going to throw hooks. So I was getting ready to always get under and counter. He didn't do any of that stuff. Every time I came at him, he kind of like he stepped backwards. And I didn't expect that from him. I expected him to be more aggressive, and I expected him to like make me walk backwards more than what he did. You know what I mean? So I just think like he fought me so different than I expected, and it threw off the fight for me. I know people want me to talk about the eye poke and the groin shot. To be honest, like I said, I don't like talking about those things because I feel like once I got up from the eye poke, I was fine, and once I got up from my groin shot, I was fine. So I was fighting fine after those things happened. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna use them as an excuse. So I would just say, sorry, my friend. Take care. I would just say, I wish I would have seen his calf kicks more. You know what I mean? Because I think if I would have taken away the calf kick from him, he wouldn't have had anything in the fight. Period.
Yeah, he did. It was just throwing calf kicks. And let me ask you, he was cut from the UFC after the fight. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know what's the okay. It didn't say that the UFC cut him. It say that they parted ways. When you say you parted ways, sometimes then renegotiations didn't go down right. So what happens is that he probably wanted to renegotiate his contract and they lowball him. That could be a reason. Like they offered you another contract, but they said you didn't like the money, and you go to another organization already with a name. I'm a ex-UFC fighter. They pay you more. They just pay you more. So I don't know if it was because of that or if it was because they really didn't want to resign him. And if they don't want to resign you, there's nothing you could do about it. Yeah. So I don't know the reason. I just know they parted ways. Normally the UFC posts they cut you off. When they cut you off, it's because they said bye-bye, no more. Rip the contract. When they part ways, it means that there was not a good renegotiation. There was no renegotiation. So it could be that he asked for another contract. They offer him. He didn't like it. He didn't accept it, and he went somewhere else.
The reason I said cut is because a lot of fighters, because he went back to Bellator, and before he went to Bellator again, they told Scott Coker, Bellator's president, they said he was cut. So that's the reason I asked him. And now he went back to Bellator. That all he's gonna ask you his last questions. All he ask him the Bellator one.
Okay. What are your thoughts on UFC versus Bellator?
You have to understand now. It's like talking about the NBA. It's like talking about the NFL. There's no competition to those organizations anymore. It is what it is. You want to watch the best basketball? You watch the NBA. You want to watch the best football players out there? You watch the NFL. You want to watch the major league and baseball? Is the MLB. You want to watch the best soccer? You know, that's how it goes. It's FIFA.
Yeah.
Like when it comes down to MMA, it's the UFC. And you got other organizations that are fighting. Look, Bellator has been around since 2008, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
They've been around for a long time. They still can't top them. It is what it is. Yeah, it's like you cannot beat Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
You
Nobody
can.
can.
You have a competition. It's Pepsi-Cola, but nobody gonna beat Coca-Cola. Nobody's gonna beat McDonald's. Nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they already established companies that it is what it is. You're just not gonna change them anymore. You know what I mean? You could have another a company come up and make a name for themselves, but you're not gonna beat them. You're not gonna push them away. You know, like at one point there was only at one point Pride was a competition to the UFC. That's
Right.
it.
Was.
After that, the UFC bought out the competition and it's over. Now anybody that you got other organizations that have great fighters like Bellator and even ONE FC has great fighters.
Yeah.
But UFC is UFC already. Look what we just talked earlier right now when we started look, just remember how we started this conversation. He said, how did you hear about UFC? It was MMA. You see what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
my point, UFC has gotten so big that they call UFC the sport, which is not called it,
Yeah.
it's called MMA.
It's
But
MMA.
that's how big the company became. So there's no beating UFC anymore. Like you should everybody else should just get, whoever's trying to come up, just be satisfied with second place because the UFC is number one.
Yeah. Like you said, they think UFC is a sport. Like, have you seen that meme around where like that girl's like, "Don't mess with my man. He trains UFC." Have you seen that meme?
Yes, yes. That is
Uh,
funny. Look,
yeah.
in football it happens a lot. There's a new thing called XFC. I think it went down already, but XFC, XFL, XFL. I think it's called
MMA.
XFL.
I think it's MMA.
No, I'm talking about
Uh,
football.
oh,
You got the
football. Oh,
NFL,
football.
you got the NFL for football, and you had another organization coming out. I think it was called the XFL, something like that. It was like a Canadian
I
football,
don't.
and
I'm not a football guy. I don't
okay,
know really much about
Johnny
football.
Manziel was in it. Okay, they were trying to like come up, and it was like, bro, nobody's gonna be watching this. Everybody watches the NFL. Like, stop that.
Yeah.
Like, I know you guys are trying to make a name for yourselves, but just be happy with second place. You're not gonna surpass these people. They've been in the game already. UFC has been in the game since '93. You're not gonna all of a sudden in 2021 come up with a company that's gonna beat somebody that's been around since '93. It's over. UFC will be number one till they decide to say, I don't know, today decide to like stop. Today know why I
Close the
said
company.
yeah, that's it. Like that's the best, that's the biggest company, period.
Yeah. Let me ask you about. You haven't fought since the Kamako fight, and when do you think you're gonna come back? Early 2022, or maybe on the last fight card of the year?
To be honest, I'm always ready to fight, man. I fought 4 times in 1 year. I fought July, I fought August, I fought February, and I fought
Yeah.
July again. I had 4 fights in 1 year. I wanted to take a little bit of a break, just a little bit to heal up. Through all those fights, as you're fighting and you're training, you kind of build you kind of like build a couple of injuries. Even I had fights where I was able to still fight, even though I was a little had little nagging pains. I said that after this last fight with Kamaka, I was gonna like make sure I'm just healed. I had a couple of problems with my ankle, and my ankle is already healed, and I was this close. I was this close to call right now the UFC and get a fight, and my shoulder got hurt like about 2-3 weeks ago. So now I want to heal from my shoulder. So it's all about me being healthy. Me healthy,
You
I'll
can
take a
fight.
fight. Now, I believe me and my coaches already spoke about this, and they told me that they don't want me to fight till the beginning of next year. They said, finish this year, just training, enjoy training, because you have to understand it's very stressful when you have fights coming up. Your
Yeah.
mind is you're mind focused.
Yeah, I had a
You know what I
fight a
mean?
couple weeks ago, and it's so
You're fighting.
stressful. Yeah.
You're fighting focus. So you only come to the gym to do what you got to do for your fight. You don't enjoy training as much because now you're focused. You know what I mean? So right now I've been training. I've been having fun training. And to be honest, it's all about healing. I was literally so close about 2-3 weeks ago to call. and get a fight. But then my shoulder, I took a shot on somebody wrestling, and now my shoulder's acting up. So I don't want to take a fight, compromise myself, and then like start a camp injured. Why would I do
Yeah.
that? You know
You
what I mean?
know,
So I'll say about mids of November, probably ends of November. I should be calling already and getting a fight because I should be already good by I should be ready to fight January or February of next year.
and if when you come back, who would you like to fight? I would love to see you against Patty Pimblett, but you know, I don't think he's
No, first
gonna.
he wouldn't do that. First of all, I'm a 45er. He's a 55er, so our weight classes don't match. Two, they're not gonna do that because they're gonna protect him a little bit more. I'm in a position where more like they put me in position to like fight competition. I was like, when you're young, they want to build you. When you're in your prime, they want to rush you to be
Yeah,
in the top. Because I'm 34 years old. I'm turning 35 on March. So I know they want to give me fights to get me in the top 20, top 10 faster. And then a guy like Patty, they were trying to give him fights where he still look like, like he's getting his feet wet in the company.
yeah,
I'm not trying to get my feet wet. They're trying to give me, look, my second fight, I was fighting Jerry Gordon. That
yeah.
was my second fight.
Look
My
how good
third,
Jared is doing.
look what Jerry's doing. My third fight was going to be Doho Choi. I'll be fighting
Yeah.
names. You know what I mean? I've been fighting names. I ended up fighting Kamaka because Kamaka took the fight because Doho Choi got injured. But I was gonna fight Doho Choi. Let's don't forget that Doho Choi before he left to Korea and started doing the military, he was the number 13 guy in the world. He was a
Yeah,
top 20 fighter. So you see what I'm saying? I'm in a different position where they're making me fight these days, and I'm ready for them. You know, I don't think they'll give me somebody that young that they're trying to build up. You know what I mean?
yeah. And and let me ask you. You talked about injury, and what was the worst injury you've ever had, and how did you recover from it?
My biggest injury was bursitis. Bursitis on my right shoulder, which is exactly the same shoulder right now that's happening. So I'm starting to
Oh,
think it's bursitis again, but the pain is not the same. Bursitis didn't let me move my arm at all. You know what I mean?
yeah.
My bursitis is inflammation on your joint, and it just goes away with ice and resting. So I've been able
Yeah,
to still grapple. Is just when I make impact. Like if I go for a double leg and you throw your hips at me and you make impact to my shoulder, it hurts. But it doesn't
oh.
hurt if I'm pushing or I'm pulling. It just hurts when I make impact.
Uh, I mean, if someone touches your shoulder, it's gonna hurt, right?
If you go like this to my shoulder, pop, pop, it
Yeah,
hurts a little. If I just finished grappling 3 rounds with my student Richard and I didn't feel anything. You see what I'm saying? I
yeah,
could push, I could pull. I just can't get hit there. It hurts when you hit me here. Like, look, I'm
yeah.
tapping it and it feels a
Yes.
little bit. It feels a little bit. But I could grapple, I could strike, I could throw. Yesterday I was sparring, I was fine. I just can't wrestle right now. If I wrestle and you throw your hips in it and it impacts, I'm gonna drop.
Human body, man. It's a weird thing. You don't know what's gonna happen. A lot of
I
weird injuries.
just think, to be honest, I really believe God. I'm a big believer. I'm a big God believer. I believe God doesn't want me to fight this year. I think He wants me to just like rest. No, be honest.
Relax.
Because no, because I'll be honest, I'm the kind of guy that if I would have been healthy, I would have fought December. I would have been like, yo, December, what's up? But like ends of November, I would have rushed this. I would have just trying to fight already. So I feel like God just want me to focus on like healing up and getting better, and then let's take a fight as soon as we're healed. I feel like if I would have been healed right now, I would have taken a fight on December, and it probably would have been too soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me talk to you. I think you are one of the first, or I think you're the first Colombian fighter in UFC right
No, I'm
now.
five. I'm five. I'm
Number
five.
five. Oh, yeah.
Number one was El Toro. I forgot. Rolo Torres. I forgot his name. I know him. We follow each other, but I just forgot his name. Number two was El Profe, Freddy Serrano, and then Julio Arce, Brian Barbarena, and Sabina
Yeah.
Mazo got in before I got in. Oh shit! So I was. Who else got in? I'm like number 6 or 7, if I'm not wrong. Now the difference is that out of all of us, I was raising. I don't. I think the first two were raised in Colombia and me. I think the other ones were like they're raised in America. You know what I mean? So I guess sometimes people feel like I'm the first Colombian fighter because I first of all my nickname says it all, Colombian
Yeah.
Warrior, and I do speak Spanish and English fluently with accent. You know, I still carry my accent in Spanish. You
A
know, you
little
hear me
bit.
speak. Yeah, you hear me speak Spanish, you know I'm Colombian. You know, so I
Yeah.
think that's what gives me a little bit more. People think I'm like the first one, but I'm not. I'm not the first one. I'll say something. I'm the first one. Was that the first one in a pay per view? Oh, I can't remember. But someone told me I was the first one in something. I can't remember now. But whatever. But keep going.
Would you like to be the first Colombian champion, though?
Like that's actually my goal. You know, I know I don't got the years to do that. I'm not trying to be like Glover Teixeira. I give him props, man. 42 years old and did what he
Yeah.
did. But I'm trying to make it happen before it's all said and done. I'm trying to walk with that belt down the streets of Colombia, man. That'll be amazing. You know what I mean? And I am trying to be the first one. You know, no knock on the other guys. I hope they all achieve it as well. But I'm very competitive and I want to be the first one.
Uh, Let me talk to you. Oh my God, I just forgot what I was gonna say.
Hey,
Uh,
the little brain fart. Don't worry, it
oh yeah,
happens.
I was gonna ask you about UFC 267. You brought it up. What are your thoughts on the main event? Just how Glover beat Jan Blachowicz.
You know, man. Okay, I must say something that I think a lot of UFC fighters are not doing. I think jiu-jitsu is getting watered down in MMA. I think a lot of guys in MMA are becoming great strikers and great wrestlers, but the jiu-jitsu is kind of like a little light. I seen a
Yeah,
lot of people look at the main card. Three people won by jiu-jitsu.
yeah.
Kazma, I forgot Kazma,
Islam
right?
Hamzat, Islam Makhachev, and I
Yeah,
don't remember the other one.
Teixeira. There's
Teixeira.
three.
Oh yeah,
So that's three. Three
Teixeira.
main card won by jiu-jitsu. Khabib dominated with wrestling and grappling and jiu-jitsu. Charles Oliveira is jiu-jitsu is still out there, you know. So you got, I think like what's going on is that uh, there's always phases in MMA. There was a moment that people were using jiu-jitsu more than other times. There's a moment that people were just striking. Everybody was striking. It was just striking and sprawl, like it's like what they call it, sprawl and brawl. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Now I feel like we're going back to like striking, but people are starting to get takedowns, look for submissions. I like that because jiu-jitsu is coming back. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's going on. Jiu-jitsu is coming back in MMA, and people are not ready. A lot of people are blue belts in the UFC.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So the ground is getting exposed.
yeah. I mean, blue belt. When you talk about, there are different kind of blue belt. There are blue belts like Hamzat Chimaev. Like you saw what he did to Li Jingliang, right?
Yeah,
He's
but
a blue belt.
who's Li
Uh,
Jingliang?
the Chinese guy who fought Hamzat Chimaev.
Like who is in jiu-jitsu? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
I don't know.
Exactly. Look at the champion. Adesanya is like I think he just got his purple belt. I
Yeah, he
think
got a
so.
purple belt.
He just got it, and he's a champ. Yeah, I'm trying to
He's a
say
champ.
like if he was to fight a guy like for example, if he had a Damon Maia on top of him, you know, like he'll have a lot of trouble. It's just
Yeah.
that would Damon Maia be able to handle that striking? I don't think so.
No.
You know what I mean? But if let's say he did and he was able to get the takedown, what are you gonna do about it? Because you know what I mean? Because this is real jiu-jitsu on top of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like Khabib too. People said, "Oh, just trying to knock him out or trying to stop the takedown." But once you're on the ground, he's mauling
He,
you.
yeah.
He's mauling you. You know what I mean? Look at guys like Charles Oliveira, how he destroyed Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
You know what I
Just
mean?
beat the crap out of him on the ground.
Look at this other guy that beat Ferguson as a grappler too.
Benil Dariush.
There you go. Look at that. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Domination.
Jiu-Jitsu's coming back. Jiu-Jitsu's coming back to MMA where people are like, look, you still could get away with being, like I said, look at Adesanya, just became a champion by defending takedowns and out striking you. But once he got taken down by Jan, and Jan being strong, he didn't even know how to replace guard. He didn't even know how to get back up. He didn't even know how to make a sweep. He didn't even know how to go for a submission from the bottom. That's
Yeah.
crazy. To be a champ without having to have those tools, that's crazy. But yeah, I think that plays better when you're like in the heavyweights, middleweights. I think when you're in the featherweights, lightweights, bantamweights, you gotta be very well rounded. Very well rounded.
Very well handled. I mean, look at the lightweight division and the featherweight division. Shark Tank, just a fucking Shark Tank, man.
The bantamweight division is getting hot. The
Yeah.
bantamweight division is getting hot.
I mean, look who we got in the bantamweight division right now: Pedro Munoz, Jose Aldo, TJ Dillashaw just came back, Peter Yan, Aljamain Sterling, Corey Sandhagen. Look at all these big names, man. Fucking Shark Tank.
TJ Dillashaw is back. Rob
And
Font.
that's just the top 5. And that's the top 5. I mean, look at the top 10, top 15, top 20. All those
100%.
killers. The featherweight
Look at-
division. Look at all those killers. And you are in the featherweight division. And what are
Yes,
your
sir.
thoughts on the featherweight division right now? Right now.
I think is I think we all could say we're pretty impressed with the champ. Out of his last fight with Brian Ortega, he showed why he's the champ. You know what I mean? You gotta be ready for those moments. There was moments that he could have been submitted, and he just didn't give up on that. I think the featherweight division is hot right now. I think guys like Giga is stepping up. I think guys like my boy Ilia Tapuria is stepping up.
Yeah.
I think it's a hot division, and I love it because I'm part of it, and I can't wait for me to go down those rankings too, man. I mean, go down. I look at down because I'm trying to get to number 1, but you know what I'm trying to say? Go up the rankings. What I'm talking about going down. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at it like that. But I'm ready. Like I said, I'm bored right now. Like I'll be honest, I'll be telling my friends, I'm like, I'm bored. I have fought July 31st. I already took August off. I already took September off. And I already took October off. I've been doing nothing but having fun, training, having my fun. I want to fight. I'm bored. I already see people having fights coming up, and I'm like, I want to fight. But like I said, me and my coaches have an understanding, and they're my coaches for a reason. I gotta listen to them, and they want me to train as soon as they want me to pick a fight the moment we're 100% healed, not to go start camp a little hurt, So I'm waiting for it, but I'm excited because there's a lot of great competition, and there's a lot of great new faces stepping up, and it kind of like. You kind of like feel like you got to do the same thing. You know what I mean? You feel, oh, these guys are stepping up. I got to step up too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And let's say when you fight for the title, who do you think you're gonna fight for the title? Do you think Max Holloway get it done and get the belt back, or do you think when you get the title shot, you will fight Volkanovski or someone else?
I'll be honest. I thought the Max and Alexander's last fight, I thought Max won, so Alexander wouldn't be. I thought it was close, but I thought Max won. It's just my opinion. I thought the first one, Alexander won. I thought the second one, Max had wanted it.
Me too.
I would say, from here to that moment, those type 5 killers right now one of them will be a champion by then. I think it could be Max, it could be Alexander, it could be it could be Giga. It could be Giga. Let's say Giga steps up, and I'll be fighting Giga. It could be who's Giga fighting? He's fighting Cater.
Yeah,
Let's see how Cater comes back, because Cater got beat up by Max Holloway really bad.
Bad.
Let's see if he comes back. What if it's Max still? You know what I mean? Hey, I don't know. I'm excited. But I do know that it will be one of those top 5 guys that are right now, because they're too good right now. I believe I'll be fighting for a title in late 2022, early 2023. I'm gonna be realistic about it. I'm not gonna be stupid and be like, oh no, I'll be fighting the next title in two fights. I'm not gonna say something dumb like that. Yeah. But I believe if I fight the right fights, the right names, I should be climbing up faster. You know what I mean? If I would have beat Jared Gordon, I would have been a top 25 or top 30 fighter. You know what I mean? If Doho Choi would have not pulled down, it would have been him, and I would have beat Jared Gordon and then Doho Choi, I would have easily been a top 20 fighter right now.
You wouldn't. I believe you would have been in the rankings. Yeah,
exactly. I would have, because right now Jared Gordon is number 20 something. He was 20 something in featherweight, but I don't know now that he moved up to lightweight. I don't know where he's at. I know Doho Choi before he left was number 13.
Yeah, he was number 13.
The rankings because he hasn't fought in a while because of he was in Korea. But this is who I was fighting. So I know that would have built me to top 20. But like I said, right now I'm not. So I'm looking forward to my next fight, and I have to win it. Probably, climb up the rankings. Probably my next fight after that will be a test after that, and I'll climb up the rankings, and then another test, and then I'll say by my 4th, 5th fight, so it looks realistically like 2023, it looks like 2022 is gonna be for me to like get there. You see what I'm trying to say? I
Yeah.
think 2022 for me will be like for me to fight like 3 to 4 fights, and all those, and out of those 4 fights, probably the last 2 are gonna be very meaningful fights, big names, for me to get there. It may take me 5. It may take me 5 too. It may take me 5 fights, but I think 2023 is when I'll be fighting for that, for the belt.
And speaking of the featherweight division, there's a fight card, Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez. How do you think that will go down? Who do you think will win?
You know what, man? I think certain people earn the rights to not get doubted, and that's Max Holloway. I think
Yeah.
Max Holloway has earned the right to, whenever you put him against somebody, you gotta go for Max. That's it, man. Hey, man, look, when I saw him fight Cater, I'll be honest, bro. I watch anime. I don't know if you watch anime. I don't know if you watch
Not that
Dragon Ball.
much.
Okay,
Not that
whatever.
much.
Okay, I said that he reached we call it Ultra Instinct, which is like a huge level. He
Yeah.
reached like another level. He's like at another level. That the way he beat him up, the how sharp he looked. Like, he right now, like I said, he's earned the right not to be doubted. So whenever you talk about Max Holloway versus somebody, you gotta go for Max now.
I mean, it's the right thing to do. You know, he's gonna be a big favorite. His last fight, I mean, he looked amazing.
Yair is dangerous. I'm just
Jair's
saying,
dangerous too.
it's like saying, okay, like when will you bet against Mayweather? You know you don't bet against him anymore. You gotta stop.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose money, man. You know how
Yeah.
many times I bet against him during his prime? I lost all those times.
I bet against him actually against Canelo. I bet against him against Canelo, and I
I
lost a
did,
shit ton of money.
I did too.
Yeah, and uh, let me tell you, you know, Max Holloway, it was a beating. He beat down Calvin Kattar, and we had a beating a couple 2 days ago, UFC 267. That referee situation. Did you see that fight? And you remember that referee situation when they had? It was on the prelims.
Which one was that? Which one was the situation? I
It
can't
was
remember.
the Saint Denis fight when referee was not stopping the fight. He took a point, and they fired him right away.
Oh, I heard something like that, but I didn't see the prelim, so I wouldn't tell you. I didn't watch that whole scenario, but I heard about it. You know, you go through Instagram and you go through like things, and
Yeah.
I saw something about a referee, but I didn't watch it, so I really can't tell you. I can't give you my opinion there. I'll be lying to you right now.
So let me tell you this: he was hurt. He was badly hurt, and he didn't stop the fight. He let him go to the third round, and the third round, the guy hit him with an illegal knee to the groin, and he immediately took a point. I mean, what do you do to those refs like that? I mean, when they
Yeah,
don't
kind of
stop the fight,
okay.
shit like that.
You know, like, to be 100% honest to you, man, that's a hard job. Believe it or not, being a referee is a very hard job. I wouldn't want to be a
Yeah,
referee. I'll be entertained with the fight and I'll forget to look at something. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be a referee. I'll be more of a. I could be more of a judge than a referee. A referee is a very hard job. So sometimes you gotta give them a slack just because they're doing a job that you probably wouldn't do, and it's a
yeah,
hard job. So if they
really
mess up,
hard.
you gotta bring it up to their attention, show them the video, and tell them don't do this again. You know what I mean? But you gotta give them a slack because if it was only one time, as that even Herb Dean has messed up. Let's be honest,
Yeah,
and
a
he's one of the.
lot.
So
He's one of the best.
you know what? I love Herb Dean because he's refereed me twice. But yes, he's had a couple of them. He's
Ben
had a couple
Askren
of, but
fight.
bro, is you know how many fights he's referee? He referees so many fights. Once in a while, he has a hiccup. It is what it is. As long as you don't have so many, and as long as you're trying to limit those mistakes, because you do have people's lives on the line, health on the
Yeah.
line. So you just gotta you gotta just educate them. If when they make a mistake like that, don't ignore it. Bring it to the attention that they did wrong, and educate them. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty bad that they actually fired him right away that night. They said, "Get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here."
And some people will do that. You know what I mean? They'll do it like that.
I mean, yeah, obviously you said you haven't watched the fight, and If you go there and watch the fight, you're just gonna scream, stop the fight. If you watch the fight, you're just gonna scream, stop the fucking fight, man, stop the fight. I mean, the guy was literally dead. He was out on his feet, and I don't want to talk about it. So, man, I don't have any more questions for you. Anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Hey man, thank you very much. I appreciate whenever you guys take your time. You know what I mean? This means a lot. You know, at the end of the day, you know, it took us a minute to get together, man. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
took us like weeks. It took us
Yeah, it
weeks
took
and
a week.
cancellation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
but anytime you guys wanna, do an interview, I'm always available. It's just like I said, sometimes I get caught up. Right now, our gym is fighting for the title against Usman on next week. So we got Kobe fighting. So the coaches
Yeah.
are not here. So right now I'm in charge of the gym, and I'm training myself too. I got I'm teaching. So all of that has taken some of my time, and I sometimes you're so busy in your head you forget. But no, man, thank you very much. I appreciate the help and. Everybody,
Yeah.
hey man, I'll be back pretty soon. It should be 2022. I'm back. I'm not gonna be back in 2021. I'm gonna be using 2021 to get better, to get ready for my next fight. So I should be back before I turn 35. I want to fight before my birthday. I tell you that much. I don't want to fight. I
Yeah.
want to fight still before. Well, I'm 34. So fight news should be soon. It should be by the end of this month. I should be giving people already fight news. So get ready, guys.
Can't wait.
I'm coming. I'm coming. Way more prepared than the past fights. More hungrier. I got my last fight, my contract. I'm not letting that shit go. I gotta win that and get a new one.
Yeah. And I can't wait for your next fight. Always entertaining. Ollie, anything you want to say to Danny before we wrap this up?
Thanks for coming on, and good luck in your next fight.
Oh man, thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. All right, just
Thank you so much.
send me a message, and when I get fight news and we gotta do an interview before the fight, let me know. I got you guys.
We're waiting for you, man. We love you. Thank you so much for coming on. See you next time.
All right, thank you. Take care. Bye bye.